What's up, everybody? This is Jack McCurry, and welcome to the North Coast Sports Ohio State postgame show. We have a final now in Columbus. It is 52-3. The Ohio State Buckeyes defeated Rutgers. The Buckeyes now 2-0 on the season, 1-0 in Big Ten Conference play. Rutgers is now 1-1 and 0-1 in Big Ten Conference play. The first thing to talk about, obviously, is Dwayne Haskins. He has been unbelievable so far in his first two starts with Ohio State. You look at him, how accurate of a thrower he is right off the bat. He threw for 73.3% last week against Oregon State, 5 touchdowns and interception. This week, 20 of 23 for 233 yards and 4 touchdowns. He has been unbelievably accurate with the football. It's whether he's on the run or just standing back there in the pocket, he has been precise on getting the football to his receivers. And the offense has looked so phenomenal here throughout the first 2 games. Granted, it is against lower level competition like Rutgers and Oregon State, but you have to feel good about how this offense has looked so far throughout the beginning of the season. The running game, J.K. Dobbins, last week he didn't get as much play as Mike Weber. Mike Weber had a fantastic performance, and you were wondering, is Dobbins going to be let down by that, or is he going to come back and work harder? And I even said it to people. I was like, Dobbins just has to come back and work harder for the next game, because these opportunities, he's got to fight for it, and if he fights for it, he's going to get the chances. And today he got those chances. 12 carries, 73 yards and a touchdown. He was great running the football. Weber didn't get as much run, and a lot of the starters didn't, just because it was 35-0 at halftime. They had already emptied out the bench and let the backups get their chances. But Weber, 8 carries, 31 yards. You want to let the other guys play. You don't want injuries to happen. So definitely Weber and Dobbins, they're going to be a two-headed monster all season long. You look at them combined, 20 carries for 104 yards and a touchdown. That's great work. And you let the backups play. You let Snead get some carries. You let Master Teague, both true freshmen, you let them get the ball in their hands and see what they can do. Teague has impressed me a lot as a true freshman, already getting in there. When he gets the ball in his hands, he makes plays. He averaged 5 yards a carry today on 5 carries. That's what you want to see out of him. And with Snead, he was impressive last week. This week didn't get a lot of carries, but he's a freshman. He's still got to learn the college game. In due time, he's going to get a lot of run, so I'm not too worried about him. Tate Martell got a lot of action today, just because you want to get Haskins in and out. You don't want to risk injury. Martell was phenomenal. 10 for 10, 121 yards, threw a beautiful ball to Terry McLaurin for a 51-yard touchdown. And then he took a nasty shot late in the fourth quarter, and, Martell got back up. People were thought, he was down for a few minutes. So you thought maybe it's a serious injury, but he got back up, got back in the game, had a 47-yard touchdown run. So Martell is such a dynamic player. We knew that in high school when he was in Nevada, and we were all waiting to see what he can do on the big stage for Ohio State. And so far, he hasn't disappointed. And, just the dual threat that he brings to the offense, with Haskins and Martell, I feel really good about the Ohio State QB position for the future and beyond. When you look at the receiving game, definitely, the Buckeyes threw it around today. All the receivers out there made plays. Johnny Dixon, 2 touchdowns, 4 catches, 89 yards. We've been waiting for Johnny Dixon. Last year he was hurt. This year he stepped up to the plate, made contributions, made big plays. So far through the first couple of weeks, Paris Campbell, we all know what kind of playmaker he is. He's just got to keep the ball in his hands. So he had 5 catches, 64 yards and a touchdown. Terry McLaurin, he was also another big-time playmaker. 1 catch, 51 yards, and that touchdown from Tate Martell. KJ Hill, 5 catches, 25 yards. Victor, Mack, the tight end, Farrell, and Saunders. A ton of playmakers on the Buckeyes offense. And, they're going to have a big test next week against TCU and their defense led by Gary Patterson. So, the Buckeyes so far through the first 2 games, 77 points against Oregon State, 52 against Rutgers. So you got to think that, they've had their way with defenses the first couple of weeks. Next week's a big test. In a few weeks, they'll have Penn State. And then as the Big Ten conference play picks up, they're going to have a lot of tough defenses to play against. So the Buckeyes, the offense is looking legit, and so is their defense, man. Friggin' Chase Young today, Nick Bosa is solidifying his status as the top prospect in the 2019 draft every time he steps out on the field. The Rutgers tackle yesterday made the comment, he goes, Bosa never got a sack against me. Well, at the end of the second quarter today, Nick Bosa blasted past that left tackle. The left tackle just tried to put a hand up to stop him. There's no stopping the force that is Nick Bosa with just one hand. You have to give your all, and sometimes that might not be enough. Nick Bosa drilled the Rutgers quarterback Satowski and put him out of the game with an injury. So hopefully he's all right, but it just shows how dominant Nick Bosa is. And even Chase Young had 2 sacks today. He got ejected in the fourth quarter because of his second unsportsmanlike penalty, just for stepping out on the field celebrating after an interception, which kind of seems stupid, but those are the rules. And I mean, he wasn't playing anyways, but he got ejected and had to go back to the locker room. But Young and Bosa are showing that they can be a dominant pass rushing duo, which gives Buckeyes fans hope. But if you looked at the entire game, the Buckeyes defensive line, led by Coach Larry Johnson, whether it was the starters or the backups, they absolutely shut down the Rutgers running game and the Rutgers offense in general, only allowing 134 total yards of offense. So that just shows how dominant the Ohio State Buckeyes defense is. They also had 2 interceptions today. Shaun Wade and Kendall Sheffield were both made great interceptions in the second half. It was all around great victory for Ohio State. But like I said, next week they got a big test against TCU, and it'll be interesting to see what happens there. It's at a neutral site. It's down in Texas. You do give the edge to TCU because it's in their home state, but I'm sure, like always, the Buckeye contingent will travel down to Texas, and it will be very heavy contingent as well. And that wraps up the North Coast Ohio State postgame show. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at jmccurrycle and check out my website, thenorthcoastsports.com. We'll have a complete recap of the Ohio State victory. And as always, go Buckeyes.